I went to New York for the first time in my life, a city that so many artists wrote songs about or so many paintings have been made about. But why? Is New York really that special? Together with Play Airlines and New York City Tourism, I got the chance to discover this beautiful city for the first time. And I've heard a lot about this city. Everyone is always like, oh my God, New York, it's totally your city, fits your vibe, huh? And I'm always like, yeah, sure, yeah. I never really believed them, but let me just tell you that I have been proven wrong. So we landed at Stewart Airport, and it's a little bit outside of the city center, which means it's a lot more quiet. And that also means that there's way less people waiting for like border control and stuff. So I think we went through like the security control in like 20 to 30 minutes, which is pretty fast to American standards. And then we made our way to Manhattan onto our hotel. It's called the Walker Hotel Tribeca or Tribeca, and Tribeca means the triangle below canal. That's something I've learned there. I was sitting in the front seat of the car and I was just so overwhelmed by all those like skyscrapers and just the, like in general, the New York vibe, the people, the houses you see on the street, just the immense city. It felt a bit like I was in a movie, honestly. So after a good night's rest, we made our way to Chinatown with its own unique vibe. And we went on a little tour with Chop Suey Club. It was about like 38 degrees Celsius, and in a city that can get pretty overwhelming. So after a while we decided to call it a day and we went to their store where we actually learned how to play Mahjong. And me, as a fast learner and a very like, I like to play games and I'm very like, how do you say, I want to win. I lost all the 3 games we played, so there's that. One of my favorite activities in New York was literally just strolling around town and experience the city as it's supposed to be experienced in a way, like behaving like a local. So you go to the local like coffee shops or stores and just see all the things that like are not actual tourist traps, you know? And of course I still behave like a tourist from time to time because there were some things that I still wanted to see, but I feel like when you take an actual deep dive in a city and behave like a local, it's the best way to experience a city. And that's what we did. But yeah, about tourist things, the next day we went to Rockefeller Center, and it's one of those big buildings in New York. And here we got up to the rooftop, and honestly, okay, when I was a kid, I was a little afraid of heights, and I was kind of scared that this would happen again on this building because we were up like 66 floors or so, and that's a lot. But the funny thing is that I feel like we were so high up in the sky that it didn't even occur to me that like there were people down there, and there was like ground and cars and stuff down there. We were so high up that I was like, yeah, cool, but I didn't even feel scared. It was a pretty weird feeling, but okay, let's just enjoy the view. I mean, it's just surreal how good these views are. It's just insane. Also, a little side note, like 2 hours before we actually went on top of this building, I had an editorial shoot with a photographer. We met up like a day before because he just like, he passed me on the street and he was like, hey, are you Tuik? And I was like, yeah, I'm Tuik. And he was like, can I take some pictures? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then he sent me the pictures and I posted them on my Instagram. And we decided to meet up and to shoot an editorial, so that's what we did. And this was also the first time, probably the last time, not sure, that I was almost naked in the Central Park in New York. If you've seen it on my stories, the pictures will be out soon, so stay tuned for that. This was definitely one of those things that you would never imagine might happen, but now it's happened. Yeah, I can tick it off my bucket list, hey? I shot an editorial in New York in underwear in Central Park. Now the next day was a Staten Island trip, and this is a little tourist tip that I learned from TikTok, or actually Pien told me, but she got it from TikTok I think. And like if you take the ferry, because the ferry to Staten Island is free, it takes about like 25 minutes or so, and like a ferry is always nice, you can just sit in the wind and be like whoo. But if you stay on the right side, like you go to Staten Island and you stay on the right side of the ferry, is where you get a pretty good and clear view of both the skyline of New York and the Statue of Liberty. And normally you would have to pay a little if you want to see like the Statue of Liberty up close, because it's a tourist trap and you have to pay for tourist traps. But with this, it's like a free, how do you say, like a cheat code if you want to see it. And honestly, 10/10. On to Staten Island, and we went up there to see a baseball game by the Ferry Hawks. And I've never been to a baseball game, but I feel like watching a baseball game is like peak American vibes, so we got to experience that, and it was pretty amazing, honestly. But the view, like the skyline view from this stadium, that view alone is worth coming back there. And after that, we took a trip around town and we went to a museum and we saw a radio station operator. And about this was probably one of my favorite experiences about the tour, about like New York. And not even because like the DJ was playing such good music. It was pretty good, pretty okay. I'm gonna be honest, it was pretty good. But like the guy behind this all, like he's like, I want to be him, you know? Anyways, we met up with this guy called Tom. And if I remember correctly, Tom is like a captain on one of those big cargo ships, you know? And Tom and his wife bought a place where they can put all of their creativity in. So they made some sort of creative zone for creatives, where you can do whatever you want. There was like a photographer studio thingy, and there was like a metal worker, a woodworker, the radio DJ thingy. What else did they have? Like a lot more creatives there, and it was like a spot where everyone can just be who they want to be, but also do what they want to do. And Tom himself he's a pretty interesting guy. Like he likes bees a lot. So what did he decide to do? He decided to make like a little area for bees. So if you have like bees in your garden or in your house, he comes there and he's like, yeah, I'll take your bees, and then he puts them in his own garden, and he's like those boxes for bees with honey and stuff, honey rakes, or yeah. Pretty interesting. And also he's a lot into punk music, like Ramones or Iggy Pop, or yeah, you name it. And this guy was like, yeah, okay, I've like my yard's pretty big. What am I gonna do with it? And he was like, I might build a podium, like a stage. Podium is the Dutch word. A stage. And he's also into mini golf. So what did he do? He uses the rest of his yard to make a mini golf course, and he mixes it all together. So you have punk rock mini golf. I don't even know what to say. This is just so insane to me, like how creative and how actually you can literally make it work. Like he makes it work. He built a statue, like a 12-meter long Joey Ramone on the golf course, while there were bands all over the world playing on the stage. There were so many cool people, and he told me, and he was like, yeah, that's New York for you. You can do it here because you can literally be and do whatever you want to do and be whatever you want to be here. And I was like, man, wow, that's what I need. Like this creative scene, like the ideas, the people, the energy, the atmosphere. It was just insane to me. So you know what? I was already texting a friend who lives there, like, hey, what kind of papers do you need if you want to move to New York? I have developed a new dream in those few days in New York, and it is to become a citizen in New York for like half a year, or I think it's very good for my creative vision, but also for just my personal development and the opportunities you can get there. I feel like there's just so much bigger, and I'm just completely mesmerized by the city. I don't know, it feels like I'm like all in love again, but it's so different, so weird. Yeah, honestly, it's so much different than in Amsterdam. So if you see me one day living in New York, you know where you can find me. Yeah, at the golf course, listening to punk music together with Tom. After this, we went for some food, and that night we took a deep dive into a little bit of the underground jazz kind of music. And it's also where I kind of learned how to drink whiskey and bourbon. So ever since I'm back, I've been drinking bourbon a lot. It makes me feel very prestigious. I don't know what has happened, but ever since I'm back, I'm like completely like, this city has me in a chokehold. Like jazz music is all up, like around the house whenever I'm just chilling, and every time I'm in a bar I'm like, yo, do you guys have any bourbon maybe available? And I don't know, maybe Amsterdam is not the city for me, maybe New York is the city for me, who knows? I'm not sure. Okay, back to the hotel. There was some lightning happening, which looks pretty cool. And the view from the hotel room, this was the next hotel, and it was raining pretty heavily, and after that it was really time to pack and to go home, unfortunately. And yes, I know it sounds very cliche, I know that, but I do hope one day I get the chance to actually call New York my home, because yeah, honestly, it's just like the way the city made me feel was very different than what I've ever experienced in any other city. And like Berlin is a close second, I'm not gonna lie, Berlin is like very similar, but it has that raw vibe where you can be creative, you can be whoever you want to be, and that's what I really appreciate in a city, and that's what I sometimes a little miss in Amsterdam. I love Amsterdam, but sometimes Amsterdam just misses the actual final creative touch-ups, you know? So yeah, and of course there's so many more things to see in New York, and also a lot of things that I didn't film or conversations I've had that I didn't memo, or that's just, you can't film it all, you can experience it all. This is just me saying that if you ever get the chance to visit New York, please do it, because it's marvelous, it's wonderful, and I absolutely love it. I also want to go back for the vintage shops, because that's what I kind of didn't do there, like vintage shopping. It was on my list, but sometimes you just don't have the time for it. Stay tuned, because there are a lot more like other adventures coming on this channel, and also a lot of other cool videos that I'm planning. So I have a lot of stuff coming up, and I would still love to hear your ideas for this channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.